Need to wait?
No, we're good to go.
Okay, great. Well, good morning. Outstanding effort by us last Saturday night in Missoula. A great place to play. A wonderful display by our team for a lot of things. One, kick coverage was outstanding. Kick return did an admirable job of getting the ball into, back into good position for our offense, and a tremendous effort by our offense in the first half, and we showed what we're really capable of doing all the time. We lost our quarterback on a penalty hit, and our backup quarterback, who was a wide receiver a month ago, came in and just played outstanding. It was great to see Trey Pilcher from Blackfoot do such an outstanding job for us. Again, a really, really wonderful job being done by our offensive and defensive coaching staff right now, especially in our offensive line, where Dorian Keller is coaching 5 dudes that never saw the field last year, except for Brian. And Finian Godolphin, we had 1 start. So just a tremendous effort by us against a formidable defense, the #1 defense in the conference. And really a much improved job by our defense. And I know you're going to say 62 and 580 or whatever they had, but much better against the run to force the quarterback to tuck the ball and run with it 14 times. Actually 12 times, and they had 2 quarterback sneaks. On defense, we hung our corners out too far. They're freshmen. They got hung out. And hopefully they'll get better, and we'll find a way to protect those corners a little bit this week. Great opportunity for us, again, to get on the bus and enjoy a wonderful fall drive to Missoula and then to Cheney for Cooper Cup Rename the Conference Day. We were going to call it Rename the Stadium Day, but Cooper Cup's been literally one of the top 3 players in the history of the conference, the other 2 being Ray McDonald and Dave Dickinson. And I'll argue that over any stein of fluid that you ever want to have. I saw McDonald play when I was a young kid, and of course I coached against David, and they were the 2 finest players until Cooper Cup pulled on cleats in Cheney, and has just had a 4-year run as one of the outstanding players in the history of college football, let alone the Big Sky Conference. So on Saturday, we present him with a rocking chair, a travel bag, a rolling bag, so get the hell out of the conference and put a new sign over the Big Sky Conference, Cooper Cup Conference. So I'm proud to coach in this conference.
Mike, what makes him so good?
The one thing he does as a pass receiver is there's no ball that you throw to him that he can't get to, because he plays hard throughout the pattern. A lot of receivers can run fast, but they don't run fast in the pattern. They don't run fast throughout the pattern. And Cooper Cup extends himself in the last couple of steps of the pattern beyond the reach of the defensive back. And he's done it for probably his entire life. But he's done it masterfully in this conference. He runs his patterns hard, and he runs them faster throughout the pattern than any other player ever since Steve Largent. And he does that because he's so fanatical about getting to the ball, and he's in such tremendous physical shape. He's just so mentally tough about his patterns that it just separates him from every other player I've ever seen, except for Steve Largent.
You say you need to protect your corners. You're going up against Cooper Cup, so how do you do that so he doesn't expose you?
Well, it's not just Cooper Cup, though. It's Shaq Hill and Kendrick Bourne. Those guys are great players. They're 1, 2, 3, 4 in the conference, whatever. And they're really, really good. And they've retooled their entire offensive line. They protect the quarterback, and the quarterback does a good job of using his assets. I mean, he throws quick pass, he runs RPOs, and then he's running around. Probably like our quarterback will be, because Trey Pilcher will start, Tanner Guller will not even travel. And what they will do is, both quarterbacks are very similar. Although Trey's played wide receiver up until about the 1st of October, Gage Gubru, who was a walk-on, has come into the conference and is the most effective quarterback. But what does he do? He throws quick pass very accurately. He runs RPOs, run pass options, very well. And on drop back pass, he's not great yet. He's going to be way better in years to come than he is right now. He's not great on drop back pass. He can still throw it. He doesn't go through his reads and progressions because he's such a great athlete. He starts running around. Reminds me a little bit of what we saw last week from Chad Challenge, who just played an outstanding game for the Grizzlies. So much more of what we saw last Saturday night against a football team that knows how to win at home after a long bus ride by us, uphill, tough opportunity for us, yet all we are about is 60 for 60. And when we came home last Saturday, we came home an exhausted football team because we spilled our guts on every single play. And if we can find a way to protect our corners and keep us within range and we'll find out who's more mentally tough all the way through the end of the game.
How is Trey doing this week, knowing that he's going to be the starter?
Well, he's going to be here, right?
He has a test.
Oh, right on. Trey Pilster. What do you mean, a college degree? Well, first of all, let's talk a little bit about Trey Pilster. He's now listed as a fifth-year senior. We didn't know he'd attended classes before he went on his mission, and so he's a senior. And we actually moved him to quarterback because I admire the kid so much, and we played him out of position throughout his career. And that's my responsibility. We did it. I did it, and I was glad to move him back to quarterback just for the fun for him. He deserved an opportunity to play quarterback. Now he's a starter. Guess what? Be careful what you wish for. And now Trey Pilster gets to be a starter as a fifth-year quarterback. He's a mature guy, a very competitive player, former 3A Player of the Year, and a very good football program up the road at Blackfoot. Be fun to watch him play.
Do you feel comfortable going in with Trey Pilster as your quarterback?
What would I do any other way? Yeah, exactly. He didn't get spring ball. He didn't get preseason camp. He didn't get any September and October reps at quarterback. But I love what we're doing with him right now. And Matt Troxell's just done an awesome job of getting Trey prepared. And Trey will play a lot like Gage. I mean, he will play good on quick pass. He's good at RPOs. He likes to run around a little bit. On drop back, it's a who's who, or it's a smorgasbord of what he's going to do. And it's the same thing with Goodbridge. So two quarterbacks with good feet that aren't necessarily polished quarterbacks yet. And unfortunately for us, Trey Pilster has got to get polished in 2 games because that's all he's got left in his career.
Does Gage, I mean, you mentioned he kind of does a lot of the quick passes, the RPO stuff. Is he more a product of their system, or does he just have kind of this natural ability that's on display? I mean, how would you, I guess, assess him?
He's a long ways from mastering what they want to do offensively, especially at drop back and play action. He's good at play action pass, but he's awesome tucking with the ball and running with it. And you can see by their stats, he runs a lot. And he's fast enough and athletic enough to not get hurt. So it's only going to be more disastrous for everybody in this conference when he learns how to be a 5-step, 7-step drop back passer. And he's playing with 3, 4-year starters at wide receiver who make route adjustments, catch the ball, and run with the ball after a short catch. So there's a lot of cool things on display about the history of our conference and about the future of our conference for both football teams on Saturday night. One of the things that we did last week is we played 65 freshmen. We played 7 freshmen, 65 plays on offense last week. 7 freshmen on 65 reps. Wow.
Mike, Eastern's offense is so noteworthy. Sometimes their defense gets overlooked. They've got a lot of 3- and 4-year guys on that defense. What's your assessment of their defense?
Oh, Samson Ibukum is an outstanding football player. Played well against us. He's having an outstanding year, and they're doing a good job of getting takeaways. They're not a stop unit. I mean, they're not, the style of offense they play, their defense is up against the wall a lot. But they're playing much better. They've got pretty good pass rush, but they're good at getting to the ball. And they're very athletic in the back end, and they're making good plays on the outside. Got a couple transfer guys at corner, like we see almost every week from every team in this conference, who are playing very well.
What happened last week for this offensive explosion all of a sudden in the first half? What went right?
As I said at halftime, it's the latent offense we've been waiting for. It's always been there. It's just we finally played it.
Why? How?
Quarterback clicked. And we got him through not quite 2 full quarters. If he'd have played the whole game, who knows what type of fun score that thing could have been. Who knows? But we played at quarterback the way we're able to play, and we went up and down the field. And our punt team got a lot of rest.
I read somewhere that Cooper Kupp was offered by Eastern and Idaho State, and those are his only D1 offers. Were you?
Well, that's a long story, but the story real quickly is that we're the only team that offered him a scholarship. When we went back home, Eastern said, okay, you don't have to walk on, we'll give you a scholarship. So we had 1 scholarship offer from us, and then Eastern responded and gave it. Because they'd already asked him to walk on. So, we just, played a game of chips. We knew he was going to be a great player. I knew he was going to be a great player when we saw him play his high school. We knew what we were going to get. And he was one of 2 great receivers in that class. The other one's having a great year also on another school.
And one more thing about Cooper, it seems like every game he has 1 or 2 pass attempts.
Kid.
Are those on trick plays, or What's going on with that?
Hey, I think they're trying to work on his all-around stats. He had a touchdown pass against us last year. He threw it to West on the wheel. Come on now. Hey, every time they hand him the ball in the backfield, they don't want him running it. They want him throwing it because he played high school quarterback. That's why he wears 10. Heck yeah. Every time he handles the ball, man, anything's possible. It's cool. It's cool to see. It's really fun. As an opposing coach, you can't have a sense of dread. You just got to have a sense of the thrill of the play. And defensively, you want to play for the thrill of play and see how many stops we can get.
Mike, I think a lot of people were really happy the way ISU played last week, even though they lost. Is there such a thing as a moral victory?
No, there's such a thing as 60 for 60. And we get on the bus, we take 60 guys, they play their guts out for 60 minutes, we don't look at the scoreboard, we saddle up and go home. And that's how we do it. So keep your eyes off the scoreboard, play the next play, and don't worry about what just happened. Just get it corrected so it doesn't happen again. And that's one thing we lost a little bit last week was the fight back a little bit at corner. But those guys are true freshmen. And a lot like a quarterback, you can lose a true freshman corner if you keep getting them roasted. So bad coaching on my part to allow those corners to be hung out. We tried to in the second half stay in coverage, but we got backed up to the end zone and had to play goal line, and then they started throwing it again. So it was a good mix for us in our defense. Our defense was much improved against the run. If you just isolate the running plays they ran at running back, we played pretty damn well compared to the way we played the week before when we gave 9.2 per rush. So we made great improvement. The scoreboard didn't say it, but I knew it, and I know it.
Does this team get up for these bigger games? Like, you played well against North Dakota, played well against Montana. Does the team play better against these better teams?
I don't know if we play better. I think we're more aware of the fact that maybe up until last week, we weren't as emotionally invested in giving 60 minutes of effort as we did in Missoula. Yeah, it was 62-44, and it was a lot of points, and it seemed like but it was not a whitewash. It was not a knockout. And when Idaho State played when we played there in 12, it was a knockout. And when we played there in 10, it was a knockout. But this was a lot more fun, and it doesn't give notice to anybody but us that we're capable of doing some things extraordinarily better than what we've showed this year. The latent team that we displayed on Saturday is going to get on that bus and go to Cheney and play their guts out again on Saturday.
Is there more confidence going into Eastern Washington now because of that performance on Saturday?
No, I don't know if it's confidence. I think it's just more of a joy of playing. It's just, we're more mirthful. We laugh. We display great body language. We're not dreading the next play. We're just playing it. Because the alternative is to hang your head and pout and show immaturity and get whooped. Well, we're not going to get whooped. We're going to keep playing.
Kyle is on the verge of a couple all-time ISU records. I don't know. It's nice to have a guy like that for 4 or 5 years.
He's the fourth monster. Rod Rumble, Luke Austin, Madison Mangum, Kyle Williams. Take one breath, say 4 names, you got 4 monsters.
What is it about him that's allowed him to kind of be this guy now for a few years?
He's a wrestler. He taught himself how to catch the ball in his career here. He had an interception in the Montana State game that probably cost us the game because he couldn't catch the ball above his eyes. They ran 3 plays in the third quarter in 2014 and beat us by 5. And on that play, they ran an interception back for a touchdown. And since then, he has dedicated himself to being a hell of a lot better on every single throw to him. And he's done nothing but now starting to reach for the ball. His touchdown catch, but the slant pass he caught on our first drive for a touchdown was as big a play of a display of your skill as anything else. So it's wonderful to see a guy who's not a natural ball catcher become one of the dominant players in ISU football history.